How y'all doing? Hey, this story here, this random road story is about the first time I met Frankie Starr, the local guitar player from Cleveland, who plays a lot in Akron. Also, he's like a local living legend, man. Very, very good guitar player. Been around forever. Um, I'm just going to talk a little bit about how I first met Frankie. Um, it was sometime in the '80s. I'm not sure, mid '80s, maybe even late '80s. I was touring, doing comedy, but my wife is from Akron. I am also. I was actually born in Alabama, but I was raised in Akron. But my wife's father lived on Grace Avenue, which is that's up on West Hill, up there close to Simon Perkins Park. They got a swimming pool and all that stuff up there, basketball courts. And it was a summer, and I had came to my father-in-law's house so my wife and son could visit. And I was just hanging out at his house, and I was in the backyard, and I heard some music, and it was some blues. I heard this guitar man, and somebody was killing this guitar man. And I'm listening, and they just getting down, man, on this. It was a street over. And all I could hear is guitar, and I hear a organ and bass, drums. And I'm a big blues fan, so I'm like, I gotta find out where this music is coming from. So it actually was coming from the house behind me, behind my father-in-law's house, rather. And I didn't want to walk around the block to get to the house. I just wanted to find out who it was and if I could be a part of it. So he had like about I don't know, 6 foot, maybe even a 7 foot fence dividing his yard and the house that was behind him. Well, I climbed over that fence. That's how bad I wanted to get over there. I climbed over that fence, and I went around to the house, and they had a garage, and in the garage was where the band was playing. And I looked, man, and here's a little young white boy playing lead guitar, playing blues, killing it. And so I hung around and watched him for a little while. And after they took a break, I knew one of the guys that was there. His name is Robert T. I didn't know him personally, but I knew him from around because when we was all growing up, man, he was in a lot of talent shows. He was playing keyboards and doing the James Brown and all of that stuff, man. So I knew him from way back. So I talked to Robert T, man. And by the way, Robert T is a sort of a local legend too, man. He goes by the name, not a real soul pleaser. He does like a James Brown tribute thing. Real good at it too. Really, really good at the James Brown thing. He does some other Motown artists. I can't really think of all the ones that he do, but he's known for doing James Brown tribute stuff. Band is always tight, man. But anyhow, I talked to Robert T. I was like, man, who is this young dude playing guitar? And he told me his name was Frankie Starr, man. Now, Frankie, I don't know exactly how old he was, but I think he was like maybe 15 or 16. So I was like, man, I got to sit in with these dudes, man. They're just making some joyful noise. So I told Robert, I said, look, man, I play harmonica. Y'all gotta let me come over and jam with y'all, man. And he's like, sure, man. He said, you got your harps? I said, nah. I said, but I got them at my father-in-law's house, who stayed right in back of his house. I said, so I'm finna go home and get them, and I'll be right back. He said, all right, cool. So I go back, climb over the fence, and I had my first amp I had bought. I had like a little Fender amp. I think it's a Viro Champ or something like that, a little tube amp. So I went back, man. I got my my little Fender amp. I got my green bullet harmonica, microphone. Got my harps. I climbed back over that damn fence, went back in that garage, man, and I jammed out with them brothers, man. I don't know how long we was back there, but we was back there playing for a minute, man. So that's how I first met Frankie, man. And it was I don't know, it was years later before I saw Frankie again. It was a club in town called the Cotton Club over on South Main Street. And I think the owner was named Jim Brooks. Well, Jim had was giving a birthday party there at the club. And I saw the advertisement for it. And it said the band was going to be Frankie Starr. And I remembered that name. I was like, Frankie Starr? I go, that's that little young dude that was playing in that garage behind my father-in-law's house. So I go, hey, I'm going to this party, man. I want to see this dude again. I want to see him play again. I don't know how many years have passed. It might have been 2 years, might have been 3 years, might have even been 4 years, but however many years it was, that's the second time I got a chance to see Frankie. And the thing about it that I forgot to mention was I had got hired to do comedy at that birthday party. That's how I knew Frankie was going to be there, because I think I was on the flyer and Frankie was on the flyer. Yeah, Jim hired me to do some comedy there. So I went there and did a comedy show. And I asked Frankie if he remembered me from playing harmonica. I don't remember if he said he did or if he didn't. But I said, well, look, man, when y'all get up and play, you got to let me get up and play a couple songs. And he was like, oh, yeah, sure, man. So after I did my show and Frankie played, I don't know how many numbers I sat in with him, but he had a trio, drummer and a bass, and I always thought those guys were all excellent, man. The drummer was good. I dug the bass player. Of course, I like Frankie, man. So I got a chance to sit in with Frankie, man, and play with him at that birthday party. And found out later too that his real last name was Starr. I thought it was just a really, just a stage name. I didn't actually think that his last name was Starr, but I found out years later that his real name is Starr. So, but you know what? I got some more stories to tell about Frankie, because later on I ended up playing in a band with him. But I'm going to do that on a later Random Road story. Talk about how me and Frankie ended up in a band together. But that's it for me on this one, man. And I'll get with y'all on the next Random Road story. Take care.